Okay, so it's a nice summer morning. I'm out walking my dog. I thought I'd talk about something. So I've been fighting through a little left arm tendonitis. And what I think is happening, and I've had this a little bit before, but it's worse again now, is when I play that WX7 wind controller, you're using the left thumb to activate all these octave buttons. That's how you change register, because it's basically keyed in one octave, not unlike a saxophone, but instead of like sometimes on a saxophone or a flute you would overblow certain notes to change the register, or you'd have one register key. Unlike on a saxophone or a clarinet, you have the single register key. Well, on the WX7 wind controller, you have like 5 register keys, and then there's also like the center one, plus there's alternate fingerings for certain notes. So between all of that, you're playing in like 6 or 7 different octaves, right? And I do use octave displacement a lot. Sorry for the sun behind me there. And I think what's happening is just holding the controller and pushing these buttons, I'm getting additional tension in my hand, and it's probably traveling up my forearm, causing some tendonitis in my left elbow, especially because it's always in the same position when I'm playing. It's kind of contracted because, your elbow's at a right angle. You're holding it fairly close to your body or whatever. And, that's the situation. So, it's like the more you play, the more you have issues with it. And it's frustrating because, if you want to practice or develop or work on certain things, then you're basically running into a roadblock in terms of, not being able to put in the time or effort that you would on that, because you have to take a break because you don't want to continue to power through the pain too long. So like if I was doing a 1-hour live stream, sometimes I'm stopping and trying to stretch my arm out or whatever, and it's just been a problem. I haven't seen anybody about it. I did see somebody to talk about this once, and it did eventually get better. It kind of went away, and I think the issue then was just the hand pressure was probably the main thing. So I did a video yesterday, and I was using a aquarium tube to blow into the breath sensor more directly, which doesn't change the way it plays too much, other than you don't have the lip bend. Like you see me on my videos when I'm playing, and I'll bend the notes up. I can't do that. But other than that, I mean, the breath function is still about the same. Well, the advantage to using the aquarium tube is I could move the wind controller around and change my arm position while I'm playing a lot more freely, because it's not like locked into my mouth all the time. And because of that, it doesn't seem to, strain my tendonitis as much. If I'm doing it right, probably hardly at all. And that's good. So, I'm hoping that'll kind of alleviate the situation for a while so that I can continue practicing. Because I'm actually trying to work towards some stuff, and I need to kind of put some things together and whatnot. And I've been sort of cataloging original material and trying to come up with, these different themed jams that I use. In other words, what I've been doing is actually going through pieces that I've played live, sometimes just improvised on stream before, and then I'm like, okay, what was that? How does it go? And then figuring out, I'm switching my hands here, I've still got my dog over here, figuring out, oh, is that a usable piece? How can I recreate that or use it, in a stream? And then that's what I'm doing. So, I'm going to keep at it. I can't stop playing, because what ends up happening is a vicious cycle. It's like if I stopped playing for a month, the tendonitis would pretty much go away, probably. And But then, when I start practicing longer and harder to try to make up for whatever ground that I lost, it's going to come back. So I really like playing the WX7. That's the instrument that, with the mechanical keys and all that I think I have a good feel for, and I like the way that it plays and responds when I use it. And I don't really want to abandon that, but I do start to think sometimes, if I was using an Akai Iwi USB or something, that doesn't have push buttons, that has the octave rollers, maybe I'd be able to play with a lighter hand pressure. And, that's one of the things that, saxophone players and stuff talk about all the time, or flute players, whatever, is trying to have the absolute least amount of tension in your hands when you're playing. And, it's a lot easier. Just everything is easier when your hands aren't tensed up. And, I think, that's a very universal thing that, most great teachers would tell you. And the problem with the WX7 is there is a certain amount of thumb pressure that's needed to push those buttons. And sometimes it seems like it's harder to activate the little switches than other times. Like on my backup controller, I think I have to use actually more pressure. So maybe I'll switch the aquarium tube to my primary one. But, yeah, all these things come into play, and it does make me wonder, if I used a different type of controller, maybe I would have less issues with it. But that's where I am now. And actually, I might turn my dog around because I don't want to go too far over here. I have stuff in the oven. I'm going to make breakfast. But come on, dummy. We're going this way. There he is, kind of. A little buddy. So anyway, that's kind of what's happening with that. So if you see me if you see me blowing into a tube on a video, I'm not taking puffs off an electric hookah, and it's not any kind of gimmick thing. It's just a solution that I came up with, and I don't remember when I first was trying it in that way. I originally came up with this when I had a controller that wasn't working, and I was like, if I stick a tube on it, then what I can do is use it just to send the breath control, and then I would play on an actual keyboard with my whatever right and left hands, and then use breath to modulate or add expressiveness. And I could do that too at any time, really. But I do have a good amount more facility using the woodwind controller than I do playing on a keyboard. So it's not going to be my primary means of expression. Although it does, if it does give me a break, actually I need to switch hands again. So I can just tell, even holding the phone at the same angle for a certain time. So it's like a cell phone elbow kind of thing that I have with my left hand. But anyways, I'm not going to switch to the so the keyboard is a primary solution. As I'm talking through this, I don't know, maybe that would be a good way to fight this, would be to spend more time playing keyboard again and get some better hand technique on the keyboard, because it doesn't create those problems, and I could still use the breath to add the expressiveness the way that I do. It doesn't have to be a woodwind controller. But at the end of the day, I guess what I'm trying to achieve with all this is I'm not going to stop playing, but I need to do everything I can to mitigate the pain that I'm going through. And I guess part of my reason, I wish I would have said this on the very top, but part of the reason I would do a video just talking about this stuff is just to put the idea out there that if you're playing a woodwind instrument, whatever it is, that involves, hand, finger pressure, etc. And, if you start to feel pain or whatever, pay attention to that and do everything you can to eliminate that. Because, if you're kind of playing through pain, and I was reading some stuff on this, it might have been like Mayo Clinic or whatever, but it's like if you're fighting through the pain, what you're basically doing is it doesn't go away, the underlying problem, and then you end up with more of a chronic situation, And that's probably what I have a little bit with my elbow, where it kind of goes away and comes back. And like I said, I've had issues a lot with cell phone elbow. I always try to talk on you know, wireless and stuff, but you know, even like I could tell, no, this is my right arm, my right hand holding the phone, and I can even tell that even just with my right hand too, if I hold the phone in the same position for a long time, then you know, I just feel that I can kind of feel the tension and stuff on my elbow, but it's not like my left arm is worse. But that's really the kind of fatigue that I feel when I play the Wind controller a lot. But you know, I need to you know, I need to be able to practice to, you know, do all the musical expression and stuff that I'm trying to do. So I can't like just stop. I'm not going to stop. So it's like, okay, so beyond taking a big break, 6 weeks or whatever, you know, how am I going to, you know, mitigate any ongoing fatigue issues so that it'll kind of go away. And you know, that's what I'm working on. It's like, okay, I'm going to try to be able to change the position I'm playing more by using the aquarium tube thing, and maybe I will switch, you know, to keyboards more, because certainly a lot of the contemplative atmospheric things I do don't necessarily require a lot of technique. I think I'm getting a mosquito bite on my ankle here, but I don't know. Anyway, it's just things that I'm thinking about as I'm walking my dog this morning. Thanks for watching.